Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Code Realize Future Blessings. And yay, we're all in our mafia gear. Oh, that was the best part of the last part. Oh, I'm still reeling over it. I love it. I love it. I would love to see Sholmes in some mafia gear too, just for funsies, but we won't get that. It's okay. Anyway, I give it some thought. Is it appropriate to tell anyone something that Shirley confided in me? But if I don't, then there's a good chance that nothing will change. Fine, I'll tell you. But in exchange, I'd like you to tell us everything. And I'd like you to tell not just us, but Shirley too. A silence passes while I wait for his reply. Then one long puff of tobacco. What? I swear, I know how to. Okay, well. Tobacco smoke later, Darius agrees to my proposal. All right, I promise. Is there like no music in this? There really is none. I wonder if there's not supposed to be any, or my game is just like I don't know. Anyway, then leaving out not even the smallest detail, I retell Shirley's story, reliving the emotions I felt when hearing it for the first time. Shirley's feelings, her world up to that point, the world of a girl whose beloved mother's life, whose father's arm, were torn from her mercilessly. I slowly recount everything to the last word. That concludes what I have to say. I let out a breath. I see. So that's what Shirley has thought this entire time. Darius mutters, staring at his prosthetic hand. I wonder if he's thinking about Shirley and her deceased mother. After a pause, he clenches his fake hand tightly, as if to break point, and exhales a deep breath of smoke. All right, suppose it's my turn. Darius begins to talk, his voice deep and quiet. You're all going to be involved in this. I suppose it's only fair to hear everything from the beginning. It won't be a pleasant old tale, but I would be grateful if you all listen. A silence fills the room as everyone waits for him to begin. It's the tale of the beginning of a tragic incident that molded who they are now. I know it's supposed to be read in his voice. I'm reading it in mine because it's going to kill me if I have to read this. Oh, good, there is music. Uh, just as you heard from Shirley, young lady, 9 years ago is when it all began. Okay, I'm not going to do it quite as gruff as him. We'll do it in betweenies. The Gordon family had been cultivating herbs that became an ingredient for medicine. Quarrels with those who wanted to exploit and abuse its medicinal properties never ceased. Looking back, this is why I joined the family in the first place. As fate would have it, in the dispute over the medicinal herb and land, I saved a man who turned out to be a mafia member. Yep, I was originally just your everyday kind of common bloke. Hard to imagine, eh? Ha! I get it all the time. Right, they were a family with a strong sense of duty and compassion. I got a good impression spending time with them. The kill-free Gordons. Mafia they may have been, but they greatly disliked putting lives at risk, and were even rather popular among the city folk. Before I realized it, I was a member of the family myself. Oh, and Shirley's mom was the daughter of the Don, and he married... Oh. I even met a girl in the family, but she was several years younger than me and the daughter of the boss, no less. This is going to be Passy and Shirley soon. We fell in love and had a child. Before I knew it, I was the boss of the Gordon family. Shirley was born shortly after I took over the position of boss. I was desperate to protect what I took over. Luckily, I was blessed with a faithful crew. New and existing members alike were good folk, and operations went smoothly. We also managed to maintain a good distance, not too close yet not too far, between us and townsfolk. And then Avito appeared, taking with him that period of peace. Salutations, dear Darius Gordon. It's an honor to meet you. At the time, he was a youngster of barely 30, but he already bore a bone-chilling cold. So he's supposed to be like 40? He was a youngster of barely 30. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. So he is like, because this was like at least, oh, well, no, this was, no, it was like 9 years. So he's like 40? 40. Like he's like, please, he does not look 40. He doesn't look any older than Lupin. Jesus. Okay, maybe a little bit older. But like, he doesn't look 40. Sorry. He was a man with eyes like a snake, sizing up the value of his prey. And he said he wanted to discuss business and had prepared a large sum of money, enough to buy an entire city. Yep, that's right. Just like the hullabaloo now, he was after the medicine. He never used the word drug, but it was quite clear that drug trade was his goal. Well, yeah, because that makes you a lot of money, I'm just saying.
Papa, he's always telling you to do things you don't want to do. I don't like him.
You're worried for Papa. Thanks, Shirley. I try my best not to leave any signs of our dealings in front of my daughter, but she always did pick up on these things. Vito brought up the deal many times, and with each meeting came higher offers. Just where was he squeezing this money out of? It was scary even imagining the sources of these colossal sums. No matter how much you offer, I can't sign it over to you. Whether jointly or under one banner, it's an impossible deal. Let me say this clearly. Oh, that's me. Okay, anyway. Let me say this clearly. I can't trust you. I see. Such harsh words. All right, then. We'll make this negotiation our last. I apologize for your time. He really did stop coming from that point on. Days passed for a time with no incidents of note. During that time, Shirley turned 5. I was content. Things were peaceful. And I was relieved, somewhere in my mind, that Vito had given up. In hindsight, I was carelessly letting my guard down. Once, an incident occurred where a staff member of the Royal Society Research Lab embezzled part of the herbs we delivered. Naturally, this individual was fired and taken to prison. But we, the family, noticed. The mastermind wasn't just some feeble researcher. Vito Credell. He was the one pulling the strings behind the curtain. So by the time the embezzlement case had calmed down, plenty of the medicine had already fallen into his hands. The result was similar to how it is now. Circulation of the drug centered around Lower Town. Regrettably, by the time I received news of this, it had already spread far and wide. But then, why would the drug just now be a thing? Wouldn't this have been like a huge epidemic? It's like all of a sudden people are like, oh my god, there's this drug, cocaine, that rich people do? Yeah, hello? I've been doing it for fucking forever. There's nothing new. But they make it sound like, oh my god, it's this whole new drug, but it's like it's been around for forever. It's frustrating, but he's a shrewd one in every sense of the word. Then there was a rumor that the thing we were managing and cultivating was the cause of the city's contamination. Quickly lost the trust of those who weren't aware of the situation, and by the families we had thin ties with. A chasm formed between us and the townsfolk as well. Trust and faith takes a long time to build, but you need only one failure to lose it all. Truth. That was Vito's aim, I'm sure of it. But the families who didn't think highly of Vito, as well as the old guard who'd been with us, trusted me to the very end. We made an oath to fight as one, should it come to it. Those were long days, expending every effort to limit the damage of the drugs. I could hardly spend any time with Shirley either.
Dear, Shirley is worried. She says you've been frowning a lot lately.
Sorry about that. I haven't been able to give her much attention. I'm sure she must be feeling lonely.
She is, but she's waiting like a good girl, saying that Papa will take down the bad man.
Yeah, of course I will. Wait for me and don't you worry, both you and Shirley. But in contrast to our efforts, the spread of the drug didn't stop no matter what we did. It was around then that he showed his face in London once more. A deceitful smile with a chilling cold as always. Vito, what's the meaning of this? You said that the negotiations were over.
Indeed, and the negotiations are over. But I never said I'd just sit back and twiddle my thumbs.
Like a voice in my head, I could swear I heard him speak those words.
It'll spread even more unless you take action quickly. We still possess a significant supply that we received from you.
Damn you!
Now what will you do? Protect the city without committing crime nor taking lives? Is that not the Gordon family's pride?
He said this right to my face. He didn't even feel the need to hide it any longer. To be sure, it was true that I was in no position to waste even a second. Drugs pulled people into a bottomless vortex. You could have just shot him right then and there, I'm just saying. Allowed to spread, the entire city would be consumed by darkness. I get it, they don't want to kill, but I'm just saying. Your pride. This is my motto. Did you take like a solemn vow? Are you like the fucking White Queen over here? Like, no, I mean, you're like, I don't kill people and greater good. Shoot him. Naturally, the mafia that makes London their economic foundation would also lose their power. But most of all, I couldn't stand how it involved people of the surface who shouldn't have anything to do with it.
Therefore, a final proposal. If you agree to cooperate with my business, I'll withdraw from London.
From London? It was a truly mocking remark. Nothing you say will make me agree. Because we, the London Mafias, are going to work together to tear down your asinine goal.
Losing sight of peace by getting carried away by passion. Truly deplorable. I suppose a commoner is always a commoner.
That was likely the signal for the beginning of our conflict. He rapidly spread the drug as he brought in the mafias that chose the path of greed, even turning them against each other. He took a man from behind the scenes, a war while retaining the wealth and manpower of the Cradell family. Clever and disgusting method. The fate of those who allied themselves with Avito was, well, a horrific sight to behold. They became possessed by the drug and fell apart completely from the inside. The wealth of the collapsed families went straight into the Cradell family, and the situation only got worse and worse. The battle dragged on. The drug's influence widened, and London's public safety only got worse. We must put an end to this as soon as possible. That was the consensus of the London Mafia. We banded together, held Avito's side accountable, and began to chip away at their power. Though gradual, things definitely improved for the better. Eventually, we were finally pushing them back. But then one day, while I was away from the house for a day to meet with the other bosses, my wife was kidnapped. It apparently occurred when she decided to go into town to buy ingredients for snacks to cheer up Shirley. The ones behind it were a family that we had associated with. We never suspected the men who were escorting her. Of course, the one who planned it was that bastard Avito. Forcible means are quite unlike him, so he was probably stepping things up in order to settle matters with me. Putting it another way, it meant that we had cornered him into taking desperate measures. That's certainly the impression I got as well. Though any family of London had debts to repay to Avito, whether in large sums or small. Even with the Gordon family, there were men who were injured, and even some we couldn't save, or many. So I made a proposal to Avito that we settle things directly, to which he accepted. Everyone on all sides was exhausted from the battle of attrition that had dragged on for far too long. On the night of the showdown, I went to see Shirley once more. It took all I had to muster up a smile for her.
Papa, when can you and me and Mama all play together again?
Shirley, soon. It'll be over. So be a good girl and wait, all right? I'd chase Avito out of London and put an end to the drug incidents. I'd take back my wife and our peaceful days that were stolen from us. It was as vowed as I left the house. Avito's side and our London Mafia coalition side gathered at that spot. My wife was also brought there. London, the family, and above all else, Shirley come first.
Oh no, that's his. Okay. London, the family, and above all else, Shirley come first. I'm fine being last, Darius.
She smiled even as she spoke those words. She must have been terrified. Women, bloody hell. Yeah, women, bloody hell. One child later and they become forces beyond reckoning. Bitch, I don't need to have kids to become a force beyond reckoning. I will fuck your shit up.
Nah, I probably just cry in the corner. Ah! And then they'll give me back and they'll be like, take her. She's fucking annoying. Yay!
Doing something rash like grabbing a weapon and fighting back was my last resort. If at all possible, I'd rely on diplomacy alone. But the moment we faced each other, a bullet whizzed right past my face. Avito never had the slightest intention of talking it out. I easily had the upper hand in close quarters combat due to Avito's inexperience on the front lines. Before long, it seemed as though it was all over. Leave. I won't chase you all the way back to Italy. I point a gun at him and shrugging, he tosses his own gun aside.
I accept. Would you please put your weapon down?
Then first swear that you'll leave London, release the hostages, and never mess with any of us here again.
Yes, agreeable terms.
With his reply, Avito signals to his men to put their guns down and release my wife. It was finally over. I was so relieved watching my wife walk toward me. But just as our hands were about to meet, that relief became despair. She was stabbed from behind. As she fell down toward me, Avito showed his blood-covered hands and sneered with an almost innocent look of amusement.
You face me time and again, and yet to still trust me. Foolish would be a grave understatement. Did you truly think I would give her back alive?
Those were his true colors. A vicious, poisonous snake that sinks its fangs into its opponent's neck, tries to kill no matter the cost. Just like the lifeblood flowing from my wife, my mind is seeped in a bright red. I knew that I couldn't let someone like him live. Eventually, I came to. Avito was on his knees before me, groaning in pain, ragged breath mixing with blood. Fresh blood poured from his stomach, forming a pool on the ground. Scent of gunpowder, the echo ringing in my ears, the stiff faces of the family. It all pointed to one thing. And the one who filled this bastard's stomach was lead. It was none other than me, Darius Gordon. Bloody hell. I ran it for all my boasting about the killless Gordon family. Bullet just barely missed his heart.
The boss himself went berserk with bloodlust. I couldn't well keep such a praiseworthy title as Killless. Boss, your arm! This was also the moment when I lost my left arm. I wasn't even aware until my men told me. But the gun that Avito had fired last pulverized my arm, tearing flesh and tendon. My London brethren all pointed their guns at the Cradell family. Avito continued to stay on his knees. The Cradell family was falling into disarray. That was our only chance to destroy our opponent. Leave, Darius! Please leave. Before this rage really does end up killing you. My cowardly prayer must have reached someone. Oviedo and the Cordell family disappeared from the United Kingdom at that point. And although gradually, the drug incidents became fewer and fewer. But the sacrifice that was paid to get there was far too great. Hey, hold it together! Don't close your eyes. You can't die yet. Thank you for listening to my selfish plea, for putting me last. We're going to go home together. Shirley's waiting for you at the house. Come on, don't talk like this is the end. Shirley, tell her that I said sorry. That Mama couldn't come back and that we can't play together anymore. No. Dragging my heart that felt like a lump of lead in my weakening body, I managed to get back home. It'll be over soon. I left the house having said as much. Over it was, without being able to protect something most dear to me. That's so sad. I was scared to even open the door to the mansion. Sure enough, I couldn't even raise my head and smiled at the sound of small feet rushing to me happily. Papa, Mama, welcome back! I wearily announced that I'd returned. I was supposed to be able to lift her and smother her with hugs alongside my wife. I was planning to tell her that we could go out and play together as a family now. But instead, I was left short an arm and surely short a mother. Oh. That was 9 years ago. I didn't tell Shirley. I made sure to order those who knew of the situation not to tell her, no matter what. It'd be too painful for my daughter to know. Rather, perhaps my biggest reason was that I didn't want her to know. To lose someone dear to you before your very eyes, powerless to stop it, taking with you the happiness of those who remain. And yet we experience that, and obviously we haven't yet technically in this, where we are in the story, but we'll experience that with every single one of our boys, except for Victor, because we're the ones that die. So Victor has to suffer without us, but we watch them all die. Okay, except for in Lupin's Path, we died with him, so it doesn't really count. But we watched Saint Germain die. We watched Van Helsing die. We didn't quite watch Impey die, but, he disappeared, so that counts. That's sad. I know it all too well. But even if I kept silent, it was impossible to hide everything. As you know, my daughter is a very perceptive girl. Darius sounds like he deliberately made his voice higher to sweep away the heavy atmosphere. Darius Gordon, past. He was once an ordinary civilian, but through happenstance he became the boss of the Gordon family. He then established a legitimate mafia business in the region until his clash with Oviedo and the subsequent drug dispute and the loss of his wife's life. She investigated on her own and found out that Oviedo was the one behind it. She raged, swearing to take revenge, and next thing you know, she's already handling guns like a pro. My daughter is pretty impressive, if I do say so myself, but I want her to grow up like a regular girl, not staining her hands with blood. I really do. I never want to lose someone dear to me again. He doesn't say it out loud, but I'm sure those are the words he'd speak next. Sorry to get so long-winded. It's all the talk I have left in me. Darius flashes a toothy grin. Sorry for killing the mood, but what can you do? Can't let it get to you. You're so alike. What was that, young lady? Alike? Who is? Shirley was just like that, too. When she finished talking about her past, she made a cheerful smile just like you did a moment ago. It's far from a situation deserving of smiles. But in response to his feelings, I make a small smile. I guess it's true that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, you got me there. No doubt. Just seeing the two of you side by side makes that apparent. What? Really? I would assume that Shirley resembled her mother. More accurately, all three of you were similar to one another. Maybe that's it. How do I put this? It's like both of you like to take matters into your own hands. Ah, they're mafia outfits. Hearing his story, it would seem so. Though there's also the fact that she's at a rebellious age.
Rebellious age? Is that why she disobeys me so?
Well, I believe that comes down to personality and interactions, but you are a truly thoughtful family. Oh God, Saint Germain. Stabby, squinty bastard. He's so fucking pretty like this. Look at that. He is so fucking... God, why is he so pretty? And I have no doubts that your wife, who was no longer with us, was a wonderful person as well. Then from the family comes a flood of stories about Darius. How he was so kind to his wife, how his demeanor is completely different when in front of his members. With each story, Darius would tell them to be quiet and try to correct them. Shirley's such a nice girl. I'm so glad that I became friends with her.
Young lady, hearing that makes me delighted as a father.
I smile at Darius, who is scratching his head in embarrassment, and then we exchange looks once again. All right then, lady and gentlemen of Lupin's gang. One thing led to another for us to be called that, so there's no way that we can botch things now, right? Naturally, everyone begins clamoring at the same time. I open my mouth. I'd like to go over this situation once more. I wasn't there for Sholmes's briefing, so let's go over that part as well. That's right. Allow me to explain then. Victor begins the conversation, and I listen to him attentively. He explains what triggered these series of events and why we're involved. It was when Lupin stole that art piece known as the Statue of Bathory to reclaim the vampire clan's relic from a nobleman. The enchanting statue that captivates all who behold it. But afterwards, we discovered there's a drug of the same name as the statue. That drug, Statue of Bathory, has become more and more prevalent across Lower Town, creating many addicts in its wake. Perhaps it was named such because it drives people to madness, or perhaps it's a code name to deceive authorities. In either case, the symptoms of the drug closely resembled those that the Cradell family showed during their battle with the London Mafia. Due to the matter of our capture, Darius and his men, along with Lupin and the others, decided to form a temporary alliance. They then made the decision to board the Gloria, which acts as the headquarters of the Cradell family. From Sholmes' deductions, apparently there is a good chance that the drug in question was loaded somewhere onto the ship. Sholmes didn't have enough evidence, so everything he told us was a hypothesis. But now that I have the results, I can say with certainty the drug is this Statue of Bathory. Victor holds up a small bag containing a white powder. Dude! Yeah! Coke party! I mean, what? Bath party? It's bath salts, guys. No, I'm just kidding. This is a drug? It looks like an ordinary white powder. If someone told me it was salt or sugar, I would have believed it. Here, it's great when you snort it up your nose. But you gotta roll up a $100 bill, though. That it is. And 9 years ago, this drug began its spread across London. Lower Town is as its epicenter. 9 years ago, when Evito first came to London. Precisely. Although at the time, apparently investigations weren't going so well. They could never pin the mastermind, so in the end, it was left unresolved. Then the drug made a resurgence, and it took Sholmes to get the ball rolling again. Appalling incompetence from the police.
There's no point crying over spilled milk. If the surface and the underground could have worked together, perhaps the results may have been different.
Surface and underground. The Yard and Royal family of the surface and the Mafia of the underground. Each beats their own honor and domain. Each bears their own honor and domain. In short, they can't just get along at the drop of a hat. But the royal family is cooperating this time, right? Isn't Sholmes working under their orders? Victor nods. Right, there's the blunder from 9 years ago, not to mention the red flags this time around. Red flags? I wonder if he's referring to the particularly suspicious person in the case. Lupin, you went to the estate of Marquis Grimmen to steal the statue, right? Indeed, the greedy old man. No doubt there. What of it? He's currently in charge of the palace medical team, and in addition is a patron of the Royal Society. Add to that, around that time there was a glaring mismatch between the amount of plant and the medicine manufactured. That overlaps with the period when Marquis Grimmen began investing in the Royal Society. Lupin and Saint Germain exchange glances. You don't say. So the old man has a drug side business. What a thoroughly rotten noble. Taking an influential figure, influential figure, it's quite apparent just how much manpower our opponent is investing in this. Also, and this isn't for certain, but the statue of Bathory that the Count said be put up for auction, that might be referring to the drug. The room starts to clamor with Victor's hypothesis.
Is he trying to auction the drug? So let me get this straight. Mr. Aristocrat is more like Mr. Aristorat and wants to get a slice of the mafia pie.
Oh, Impey, you're so fucking adorable. I love you. It's the suit. It really helps. It's just, he's so fucking adorable in that fucking suit. I love it. Judging from the situation, I think there's a strong possibility. We have no evidence yet, but there must be something. Wow, Victor, you're pretty aggressive today.
What? Am I? Yeah, he's like, I'll fucking kill those sons of bitches.
What? Nothing.
Did you take some of that drug? Maybe.
He's like, Saint Germain's like, sniffs, taps his nose. You sniffing some of that shit? Were you trying some of that drug? I mean, I tested it a little bit.
How do you think I tested this shit?
Snorted some of it in the bathroom earlier. No, I'm just kidding. It is true that you are far more stately compared to your usual self. Aggressive might be a stretch, but I just don't think I can ever forgive them. To appropriate a medicine meant to help people and instead spread so much suffering like this, I just can't forgive it. This just isn't the right way to use it. Victor speaks clearly and confidently. Oh, he's so cute when he's taking a stand. Our precious Victor. Our course of action becomes more and more clear. We must find the drug that's loaded on the ship and secure evidence that the nobleman was embezzling the herbs and just dump it overboard and the fish will all get high and shit, but it's fine, whatever. If we can't take care of that first, Avito will probably evade us yet again, and the drugs and the fish will get high and aggressive, and then people will fish the fish and eat the fish, and then it'll just be like a cycle. I don't know if that's how it would work. I don't know. Has anyone tried that? Have you given cocaine to a fish and then eaten the fish, and do you get coked up when you do it? How does that work? Interesting. I'm sure the fish just dies. But that fellow, Avito, he seems to have quite the confidence and composure, does he not?
You know, he was smirking that entire time like some kind of freak show black mamba.
This is Avito you're talking about, right?
I mean, he always looks so sly and cold, so, you know, he's basically a snake.
Everyone exchanges looks at the same time, and after a brief moment of consideration, seem to arrive at the same conclusion. Huh, that's rather fitting. The Black Snake Bastard. Has a nice ring to it. That takes care of his nickname.
He's like, what the fuck?
Look! I'm a super thief, and we're working with a great detective, and we need to have a super villain with a super villain name. We can't just call him Avito, that's just stupid. Not how we do shit. Code names. We don't have them, but everybody else should.
But no matter how much we ready ourselves, we still don't have evidence or much else for that matter. On top of that, we're deep inside the belly of the beast. We don't have enough cards to turn this situation around.
We'll just have to gather the cards then. Lucky for us, all of the actors are aboard this very ship. All of the actors? Do you mean that even the nobleman, Marquis Grimmond, is aboard the ship? Indeed. I only caught a glimpse of him for a split second in the hall, but I'm confident he's on this ship. You spotted the Marquis that quickly among all those people? Lupin, you really are something. But if that is the case, the nobleman is quite the fool. Being on the ship is as good as proving your own affiliation with the Mafia. We're on the ship. Yeah, but we're undercover! I wonder if he has some other intention in mind. Well, it would only be natural to assume so. For the time being, he is the Marquis whose proud collection was tragically stolen, so let's unmask him, shall we? Unmask him, you say? That would certainly seem to be the correct tactic in collecting information from the Marquis.
There's more? Whew! Mr. Impey's head is going to explode if anyone drops another bombshell.
Spacey's like, I'm technically a man. Just kidding. Everyone's like, ah! I have no clue what we're talking about. I fell asleep. Can everybody go back again? Is something the matter? There is. I'd like to resolve this incident, but if Avito anticipates our move, I doubt he'll do anything good. He's a man who can only see someone's life by the value of how they can be exploited. If someone like him decides that someone is of no value, then...
Worst case, the entire ship will erupt into all-out war. Damn it all! I don't want a single additional casualty. Wait, why the stare?
Don't mind me, boss. It simply occurred to me that you truly do not enjoy fighting.
I'll say, he looks all big and tough, but Darius is actually a model pacifist.
And Ibe's like, I like kicking ass. And Victor's like, I don't like blowing shit up. Okay, I like blowing shit up, but I didn't before this, but now I do, and I'm really twisted. Concerned. I'm so concerned about myself. So it seems. I was intimidated at first, but all of that is gone. He gives off more of a fatherly vibe now. Oh my god, you guys! The contrast of his doting on Miss Shirley with his own personal character. A sight to behold indeed. He's also admired by his underlings. An important thing indeed for any leader.
No! Wait! What is all this all of a sudden? Stop! It's embarrassing.
I wouldn't say it's sudden. It's just that it's just that we can no longer hold in what we've all been thinking.
No, even so.
Sorry, my ear under my headset. Oh my god.
Bloody hell! Now I'm getting warm fuzzies in my chest.
Darius tries to obscure his embarrassment by scratching the back of his head roughly. And gouges his left hand right into his brain, and now he's dead. Oops. Right then. Our top priority is evacuating the passengers. We will figure out a way. Our own Impey will. Impey will?
Yeah, just leave it to me. Wait, what? Oh, hold on a second. Did I miss us drawing lots?
Weren't you excited about seeing the ship? Take this opportunity then. Grab the wheel and guide us back to the harbor.
Easier said than done, me hearty.
But if we can get the ship to harbor, the innocent guests can escape. Oh, we have to look at him, bat our eyes, and be like, I have faith in you, Impey. And he'll be like,
I got it. Totally got this shit.
Bat's eyes. I suppose that means we can look forward to the skills of the genius engineer. You're all asking for the absurd, but I suppose absurdity is what we have to rely on right now.
Exactly. So, Impey, how much time do you think you'll need? Well, this ship is a block of cutting-edge technology. I haven't even seen the control room. I can't really... Fine, I'll do it. Anyway, I'll have it done in a jiffy. I'll report and signal if I see the goal. Satisfied?
Splendid. I'll be relying on you, partner. Impey and Lupin lightly bumped their fists together. Oh my god, they just bro-fisted. Oh, they just fist bump. Boop. So cute. Guys. I can't wait for the fucking Van Helsing hug. God, I need that in my life. However, I do not think we have much time left. No time? Why? The ship will go around the Irish Sea until the auction concludes, and then pass the channel into the Atlantic. Irish Sea, also known as Manx Sea. It's the sea that separates Ireland from Great Britain. The Isle of Man is located in its center. If we make it to the ocean, we enter international waters. Any conflict that occurs there may potentially become the cause for war later. So we have to take care of everything by tomorrow when the auction takes place.
In that case, we have less time than suspected.
So we'll simply have to do it quickly. No sweat.
You say that like it's a household task. But can we really do it?
Lupin nods assertively, and although everyone shows sign of contemplation, they definitely don't seem to be despairing. Let's teach this black snake bastard that he's not the only one who's good at lurking and sneaking about. Fucking love Lupin. God, I love them all. I love my boys. I love our boys. I love them. We, Lupin's crew, rather Lupin's gang as he now calls us, begin to kick into action to fulfill our individual duties. Avito's guard is still down. He believes that no matter how much we struggle, it's futile inside the ship that's under his own power. Fat arrogance will be our biggest and indeed only chance. First, to stop the Gloria from entering the open sea, we must return it to port in Liverpool. With Van Helsing as his bodyguard, Impey waits for the opportunity to break into the control room alongside Gordon family men. Look at them. Guys, look at them. Can we just look at them? Wait, No, not that. Look at that. Look, now we can see everything. Oh, oh God. I love a man in a vest. Look at Imbe's vest. It's just so beautiful. I love it. Oh, God. He's so dapper. I mean, I can't. If you didn't know that he, like, smiles and is so goofy, you'd be like, damn. He's like the tough guy. But he kind of looks like a softie. He's like the tough guy softie. But then Van Helsing. He looks like so, but then the top hat with the goggles on it is just like, that just makes you so adorable. He's like, oh, he's got the angry, oh, but look at that hat. So cute. I'm sorry. Okay. And then he gets off. It's cute. This'll be a bit of a doozy, but not to worry. Nothing's impossible for the genius engineer. I'd rather sweep chimneys than be your bodyguard, but fine. I'll guarantee your safety. Oh, look at Van Helsing's little smirk. Oh. Several Gordon family members knowledgeable with machinery also accompany Van Helsing looking over all of them. Lupin, who is skilled in combat, and Saint Germain, who has connections with the upper class, are primarily collecting info. Guys, I just can't even. And I do love that they've got, like, the little, like, Lupin gang crest. We've got our own little family crest. I love it. We've got our gang crest. And of course Lupin's is broadly on his cape, but also on his hat. You have to know who's number one in this gang. I fucking love it. Goddamn love this so fucking much. I'm sorry. They gathered details about a veto in the Credell family, but also obtained information about suspected accomplice Marquis Grimmond. According to the information, apparently Marquis Grimmond isn't on the ship for world travel, but for fleeing abroad. Just when we thought he's guilty... Oh, just as we thought. He's guilty, too. He's connected with a Vito's henchman. If that is so, all we require now is physical evidence. I presume he must be concealing something nearby. Victor searches for the drug called Statue of Bathory alongside Gordon family men using a human wave tactic. Look at him. I love it. I just love the details that went into their adorable fucking suits. I love it. And I love how he's got the little green armband. Oh, my boys are so cute. Guys. Oh. With so much missing ingredients, it's got to be here somewhere. But although they are desperately searching for it, time passes and they come away empty-handed. I take on more of an assistant role, keeping in contact with those who dispersed every which way in search of information. We started investigating late last night, and it's now just past noon. Nothing in that room, or in this storage room either. Since we have no idea where to look, we have no choice but to check each one by one. Using a simple handmade sketched map, I mark all of the rooms that have been investigated based on the reports I receive. This is a big ship, so it's going to take a while. I look at the scenery outside the window and let out a sigh. The land I can see only shrinks further into the distance. It seems that control of the ship still belongs to the enemy. I wonder if Shirley is all right.
About Shirley. Once we arrive at port, we will immediately get her off the ship and under yard protection.
Darius had mentioned something about that when we decided on roles during yesterday's discussion. I went to inform Shirley afterwards, but see, just as I thought, treated differently from everyone else. It makes me feel pretty lonely. I envy you. Shirley's voice then sounded so weak. Just listening to her made my chest tighten. I didn't know how to respond to someone say they're envious of me. Maybe I'll go and fetch something for her to eat. Even if I don't have a response, I'd like to talk with her. I stand from my seat. I prepare tea and snacks and head towards the room where Shirley is kept. Passy, may I have a moment?
Hi, Spacey. Is that for m'lady?
It is. Does Shirley seem all right?
Well, she'll manage. Sorry. You brought all that way here, but it looks like she just fell asleep.
No, don't worry about me. If Shirley is able to sleep, that's a good thing. My worries wouldn't cease from her screaming and crying I heard all through the night. Afterwards, the tea and snacks became Passy's for the time being. I'm finally able to persuade Passy into resting despite his stubborn refusal. He takes a seat. We sip tea, and when the awkward atmosphere begins to cease, I slowly begin to talk. Darius told us about what happened 9 years ago. I think I understand why Darius is so protective of Shirley. I see. So boss told you, eh? I don't know any more than what I heard, since I was told of what happened later as well. But it's true that the boss treasured Mulaney more afterward, and conversely, Milady began to crave freedom. The whole time, ever since then? Passy nods. You know, as I'm sure you've seen, Milady is full of curiosity. She kind of jumps headlong into any situation. Right. She finds things, sees too much, and doing so gets too close. So it's all the more worrisome. Wondering if she's off in a dangerous situation somewhere. Worrying about whether she's mixed up in something. Surely those are only a few of his anxieties. Do you also want to keep Shirley in a safe place? Of course! Milady is dear to me too. But I can understand how she feels too, so honestly, it's a difficult question. You're almost like her big brother. What? That's way out of my league. I'm just an errand boy. You really do look the part, though. As our idle chit-chat continues. Lady Spacey, are you here? Lady! Yes. Yes, please enter. Please follow me and bring the medicine kit. Immediately. The professor's calling for you for the hall. Professor Victor? All right, please lead the way. Is this a trap? Victor! Spacey, I've been waiting. Just as I was told, I brought all the medicine I had with me. Pushing through the crowd of onlookers, I run up beside him. What? I see a man twitching on the floor. The glass that fell on the floor and the wine that spilled. The poker chips scattered about tells me of how the situation was fun and lively only moments ago. Victor, what is this? Sudden onset status. Nervous while gambling and drinking. Acute alcohol intoxication. It's what I'd like to say, but it's probably not just that. Not just that? I'll explain later. Can I ask you to prepare medicine according to my directions? All right. I open the box of medical devices, Jesus. Following Victor's instructions, I mix and combine medicines in measured amounts. It's a tense and precise work that continues for some time, but I retain my calm despite my haste. One small mistake with the chemicals could be a grave matter. Done! Thank you. Someone pin this man down tightly. Onlookers gawk, bewildered. I'll do it. I can lend a hand too. One of the Gordon family men who was accompanying me volunteers, followed by a passenger who raises his hand next. Victor, I'll hold him down too. Thanks, but be careful. I think this is going to get violent. Violent? Hardly a second later, I figure out what he meant by that word. Ready? 3, 2, 1. He injects the medicine into the man's arm. Ah! Strength suddenly builds in the man's body as he begins to resist. His meaningless cries and frantic movements as he tries to shake free remind me of a wild beast being held down. He's so strong. Everyone, don't hold back. Push him down with all your strength. Put all your weight into it. Oh, Victor, look, I know it's a tense situation, but look at Victor, and he's got a little pocket watch. He's so fucking cute. It's a strength far too powerful for one adult man. Even with 4 of us, we can't hold him down for much longer. Whoa! Damn it. Is he on drugs or something? Just a bit longer. Just 10 more seconds. I muster up what little strength remains in me. But even 10 seconds feels like an eternity. Victor, it's no use. He's about to break free. What? It's over? Good. Heart rate and pulse are both stable. There's nothing to worry about anymore. The man who was screaming and thrashing only moments ago now sleeps silently as if nothing ever happened. The man is carried into the medical bay afterwards. People gathered here gradually dispersed to their own rooms. Perhaps Evito's men were watching us from somewhere in the crowd. As the incident settled, they mix into the partygoers and disappear into the ship elsewhere. After making sure of that, I asked Victor in a quiet voice, Victor, that man, what was that all about? It wasn't just intoxication. Victor himself suggested as much. He makes a serious expression and glares intently at the hall. The medicine that I administered was a neutralizer for alcoholic content and for the drug. The bad feeling that swirled vaguely in my chest begins to resurface anew. The meaning of those words. That man was taking the drug? Statue of Bathory? Yes, no doubt about it. But he suddenly collapsed without any signs beforehand, right? Do symptoms of overdose show that quickly? That depends on a number of factors. So I can't say for sure, but he wouldn't be in such a state without an accumulation in his system from regular use, or taking a lot all at once. Regular use? That's not something we can determine immediately, though. A lot at once? Then what would he have taken? Then when would he have taken such an amount? Okay, that was me. I was making sure. I read it as me, and then I was like, wait, was the last one me? I don't know. I didn't see any needle scars, which means it could have been ingested orally or snorted. Yeah. How do you... Oh, and then he gives you a whole description on how to snort cocaine. I mean, Statue of Bathory. I mean, bath salts. I mean, wait, what? But his companions didn't seem to notice any signs, and they never saw him take anything after boarding the ship. It's in the wine. So we'd have to get the details straight from the horse's mouth once he comes to. So Victor says, but it's best not to take our time in this incident. To take our time if this incident leads to us finding the drug. After all, only a few hours remain before a time limit when the auction begins. There's gotta be something. A way for the man from earlier to have taken a large amount of the drug without being noticed by those near him. Victor, you said it can be taken by mouth, right? My thoughts suddenly become words. What if it's mixed into a drink? Was I off the mark? No. That's completely plausible. Wait here. He immediately brings a glass that sat atop the table. Then he takes a test tube from his pocket and pours a bit of its contents inside of it. We see the results instantly. The color changed. The way it's changing, bingo. It's definitely in there. There's no need for him to even say what it is. My feet immediately begin to move. I have to let them know. Right, but let's proceed with caution. The passengers will only panic if this information spreads. If that happens, Evita will definitely notice what we're up to. All right. Afterwards, don't let anyone drink a large amount of alcohol. We leave that message with Darius's men who remain in the hall and then decide to return to the quarters once more. They should have slipped it in the fucking water. That's smarter. Go to take a shower, you're bathing in it. Then around the time when dusk paints the scenery outside the windows. As everyone's left speechless by our report, we proceed with exchanging information. Have you all found anything? Lupin grins at my question and begins to walk, leading Victor and I... That guy he just walks away. What? All I can say is that Lupin didn't let us down. We move as a group of 5, which is hardly optimal for moving covertly, but there are absolutely no signs of Evito or his men. We eventually arrive at a single room. Lupin, where are we? I like how we leave our room and we put our hats on. I love it. This is what they'd call a secret garden. Observe. In the midst of our short exchange, Lupin undoes the lock, removes the chain, and has the door open in an instant. Goodness, I am impressed by your amazing skill, no matter how many times I witness it. Perhaps I will take up the art. You're more than welcome to be my apprentice. Even as they make jokes, we quickly slide through the open door. It's dark. I feel around for a switch and press it. The room is illuminated. Its interior looks like a storage room lined all over with items for the auction. Why in the world would you put a couch up against the wall like that? Could this be everything that's going up for auction? Most likely not all. It seems a bit careless a storage room for priceless artifacts. Surely Evito and his men aren't so understaffed they can spare even a simple guard. Oh, that they can't. See what I mean? Like, why is that? Why is that couch just like that? That's just weird. Even with a cursory glance, the furnishings and items around us are scratched, blemished, and a far cry from clean. I'd never even consider these things could have much value. Are the drugs here? We begin to advance through the cramped art pieces, trying not to bump into them. And then my eyes widen as I catch a glimpse of an item that peeks out from the corner of one of the precariously stacked boxes. What? Is that the statue of Bathory? Hearing my utterance, everyone's eyes are directed to where I look. Indeed, there sat the familiar statue of a woman. But it's in terrible shape. Picking it up, I can immediately tell what kind of condition it's in. Bits and pieces are missing. From its details to its shaping, even its texture, everything is different. It was like a cheap knockoff, essentially, and could never stand up to the real statue by a long shot. Looking more closely inside the box are many similarly poorly constructed statues of Bathory. Could it be? As if he had an epiphany, Victor walks close to the box and throws a glance at Lupin. Without saying anything, Lupin just gives a nod. A second later, Victor stomps the statue with surprising force. Victor? Wait just a moment. The statue that Victor stomped on was now shattered. Inside the shattered remains is a small glass bottle, and inside that bottle is a powdery substance that resembles sand as it's tilted back and forth. It can't be. Paying no mind to my doubts, Victor pours the same liquid that he used in the hall directly into the bottle, an immediate change in color by chemical reaction. Everyone gasps from the results. The drug. It's Statue of Bathory, I'm positive.
So this is it. He was hiding them in here, was he?
Lupin, I'm amazed that you were able to find this place. Oh, don't make me blush. Disguises and camouflage are my forte. This level of information gathering is a piece of cake. But it's not enough. There's too great of a difference in the missing ingredients and the ones here. I'm sure that there are more hidden elsewhere. In that case, where, I wonder? As everyone wears a contemplative frown, too, I ponder as I stare at the statue. This drug must be the most crucial thing for Avito and his plans. Would he then keep it under lock and key so that we can never get our hands on it? No, that doesn't seem likely. Because if the security is tight, I'm sure that Lupin and the others would have been caught immediately. If Avito plans to boost the number of addicts aboard this ship, he wouldn't store the drug under high security. Take the patient from earlier, for example. It would be stored in such a way to be conveniently acquired by passengers. That's right. A white, powdery drug that looks similar to salt or sugar. And considering that it was mixed into a drink just a bit ago, then maybe... I told the others of my theory, and Darius's eyes go wide.
The food storage?
Right. That must be it. It would be a simple matter to mix it into wine there, or even into food. Labeling this as an ocean voyage and deliberately creating addicts by exposing them to the drug over a long period. Even after the voyage, the passengers will surely become return customers. What a twisted mind indeed. In any case, we have to find this drug immediately. Wait, Victor! Someone else should go instead. Grabbing Victor's arm as he makes to rush out immediately, I continue my words calmly. Now that we know Avito's method, it's safe to assume that much of the passengers here are already becoming addicted. That much of the passengers, or many, are already becoming addicted. In which case, we need to prepare for that, which is something only you can do. Something only I can do? Right! But there's a limit to what I can do with the medicine I have. It'll only be a temporary mitigation for so many people. But enough time for the passengers to safely get off the ship, and enough time to receive treatment after. If we can clear those 2 points, I think we'll be in the clear. The worst case scenario would be a full-blown panic.
What in the world do you plan to do? I would appreciate it if you could explain it to me in layman's terms.
It's simple, really. She means we'll fight medicine with medicine. Then allow me to check the food storage. I wish you luck, everyone. St. Germain, are you going to be okay? Because we don't know how stabby he is. After separating from St. Germain, we head back to the quarters for the time being and...
Boss! Everyone!
Passy comes running up to us, looking flustered.
What? Passy! What are you doing here? Why aren't you watching Shirley?
About that, you see? Seeing his panicked state, Lupin and I come to the same conclusion. Could it be? Did Shirley... Bloody hell, what an unruly lass.
Impossible! How? You were supposed to be standing watch in front of her door.
She didn't go through the door, but a small window in the room was open and she's probably on the outside now.
What? How could you do something so reckless?
Somewhere that Shirley would head towards after sneaking out on her own. Of course, it's probably to wherever Avito is. Yeah, but we don't know where he is.
Damn it! Not now of all times. I'll gather all of my men immediately and...
But if you make any moves, her situation might become even more dire under those pretenses.
But I can't just leave her like this. Something were to happen to Shirley, something like back then. What happened 9 years ago?
It was, for the Darius family, a past more tragic, a past most horrible. However, Darius, it's not the same. This time you have Lupin's crew on your side. We won't let history repeat itself, no matter what. So for now, believe in us. Stare at Darius, who is more than twice my size.
You're strong, young lady.
Strength he's pointing out right. I'm not sure if I fully understand, but I'm not particularly strong. I just believe in my friends. And we're going to save Shirley no matter what.
All right. Indeed, nothing good can come of a leader who is falling apart. I'll believe in you all to the bitter end, and I'll rely on you as well, to settle this incident and to protect my beloved daughter.
Goes without saying. After all, Shirley is a dear friend of mine. That is never to be seen or heard from again. I mean, Anyway. 2 hours later. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this part up here. Before we get too far in, because we're almost at an hour, but this is a good place, and I don't want it to go too long, so I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up, and subscribe to see more.